Now it's time to be dangerous. Now it's time to get risky. Now it's time to truly find out what you're made of and what you could achieve. Now it's time to truly find out how many lives you can impact. Now it's time to find out what you were destined to become.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Raw Minds podcast on men's mental health, where we hear guests' beautiful stories about overcoming some struggles in their life. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Anthony.
And I'm Eric.
And let's kick this shit off.
Raw Minds. Yeah, man.
Good save on the intro, bro.
I know. You know what? Usually it's grayed out and you can't press it until like it starts.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it was like, let's fucking go.
It's been waiting, man. So we're not going to waste much time bullshitting today because we have a very special guest, someone I know very well. Amazing story that he's going to come on and share, but also someone we're going to be doing some work with in the near future here. So why don't you bring him out?
Hell yeah.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing
What's
great,
up?
guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
And, it's great to see you fine young gentlemen.
Thanks, brother.
Always a
I use
pleasure,
the
brother.
term gentleman usually.
Always.
Yes, gentleman is a very loose term that we use around here.
Yes. So,
I dig it.
why don't... Huh?
The background, the shirt in the background.
Yes. So that's what I was saying. Why don't you tell us a little bit of what you got behind you?
Yeah, so we're just messing with the logo, right? So to your listeners here and you guys, so we're one of the co-founders of MAD Apparel, and the boys here at Raw Minds and I have decided that we're going to do a collaboration. I'll let you guys tell your audience a little bit more about what that looks like. But we make apparel. We make luxury, custom streetwear. We also do the boring stuff. We do corporate stuff. That's really what pays all the bills and allows us to create on the streetwear side of things. And so we're going to do a collaboration and use some really unique and cool materials to do this collaboration hoodie with your logo. And it's just gonna jump off that hoodie, man. Why don't you guys tell your audience a little bit more about what your plan is?
Yeah, so we've collabed with Mark here. We're super excited to begin that journey, and especially on the hoodie, we're gonna get that worked out. We're gonna work out the fine print of the giveaway and how we're gonna give that away. I know some of the requirements are going to be that you have to be following us on certain social medias, and you have to be following MAD Apparel as well. We just love what you guys stand for and what your vision is for the streetwear brand. And we just felt like our visions aligned really well, and how you want to give back to the community kind of aligns with how we want to look at giving back to the community as well. Do you want to touch quickly on like the MAD Apparel side and like what you guys have planned for the future and how you guys operate and what your purpose is and everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just really an honor to be working with the gentleman I'm working with, Dale, who's the co-founder of MAD Apparel. And we'll start at the end here because that's what MAD Apparel came into. We'll get into a little bit how I arrived here. We'll discuss a little bit about my story and what was going on in my life to end me up, or to get into really giving back to the world, the community, right? And that's what MAD stands for. Like, we want you to get mad. And MAD means make a difference, but not for me, right? Make a difference for you, for your listeners, right? And coming out of the pandemic, the co-founder, Dale, and myself felt the world was ready to hear this message. It was scary going through something like that. No one's ever been through a global pandemic. I know myself, I started to isolate. Drugs were part of my story 5 years ago. That got out of control, gave me an excuse to isolate. Oh, I have asthma, I need to isolate. When you fast forward and we talk about making a difference, because what happened during that time too is I got real selfish. I looked out for myself. And when we talk about making a difference, it's for somebody else, right? Live that altruistic lifestyle, right? When I'm doing something, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for my community. I'm doing it for my loved ones, for my teammates, my coworkers, right? And I'm not worried about myself. I believe in a higher power, and he's going to take care of me. And my job is to take everything I have and be a service to everything and everybody. And that's what making a difference was built on, right? And
love it.
The elevator pitch is this: do it because it's the right thing to do, Do it because you're a fucking human being and you ought to want to do it. You don't have to do this stuff. You ought to want to do it, right? And that's our message. 100% of our proceeds, they don't go to line our pocket from the streetwear, right? Now we have to get back to zero, right? We spent tens of thousands of dollars to bring in this inventory, but 100% of the profit goes back into the community. Right? So when you smash that button, when you're going to shop our store and where there'll be new drops and new designs, it's just our first collection out of the darkness. It's a black on black on black, right? And we can get into the name of that collection, why it was so important.
Yes, we should get into that at some point too.
Right?
Definitely.
Of having that as the first full collection. This is, I'm actually wearing it. It's darkness hoodie.
Yeah.
It's really, I don't know if you saw it, but it's customized serpent style embroidery. It's sick. It's really sick, man. And it just says darkness right on the back, right? Because we literally walked out of that darkness 5 years ago, and we put it on the back because it's never too far away. Right? It's still back there. If I stop doing the things that I need to do, that darkness will be in front of me in no time. And so that's what Make a Difference stands for. That's why we decided to put our money where our mouth was and open a corporate office and carry this message on our streetwear brand side, our corporate wear as well. We work with a lot of organizations in the communities that we live in. And we're just honored. We're really honored and blessed to be able to give back to our communities, our loved ones, teammates, workers, everybody, right? So how can I be helpful to you, right?
I love what
and it doesn't cost me anything to be nice. It absolutely costs me nothing to do something for you, right? Not because there's a hook in it for me, right? Because that's not for you. That's for me then, right? That's selfish, right? Do it with no strings attached. Do it with the cameras off, right? Don't do it when nobody's watching.
That's right.
That's when you do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's really making a difference for the other person. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right? So that's a really, and I get pretty forceful and passionate when I talk about it, because we'll get into it, because I was pretty much homeless 5 years ago. Right? I was addicted to crack cocaine and alcohol, and whatever you had, I'll take it. And I didn't care. Couldn't see my kids. My wife didn't want anything to do with me, man. I had built a 25, 30-year mining technology career where I traveled all over the world designing underground Wi-Fi and fiber networks in hard rock mines around the world. But none of that matters, because all the decisions I made landed me in a treatment center at the age of 45 years old. So it didn't matter what I did before, right? Good, bad, like whatever happened in my life. And a lot of good things did happen, but it turns out I'm an addict. And that all came to a grinding halt in the middle of the pandemic, where your heart stops and you drop. You could see the color coming out of my skin, man. Like I turned gray and I was done. My life was over, right? Miraculously, you guys thought I died, right? Miraculously, I'm still here. So it doesn't matter why. And I really needed to look at how I was living life. And let's get into, from a young age, I always knew I was going to work for myself. I had that entrepreneurial bug from the age of 10, 11, 12, right? I'd started, I think, my first computer company at the age of 14, 15.
Oh, wow.
And I was into technology early. I was also into a lot of illegal things early. And there was no reason for it. I came from a stable upper middle class home. Dad was mining executive. Mom was an RN nurse working in Emerge. There was no reason for me to do the things I was doing, right? I didn't need the money. It wasn't about the money. Something was missing inside of me, and I was chasing something my whole life, right? And it was just living fast. Lived this fast life. Fast cars, bikes, boats, skidoos, jet skis, fast women, everything. And, what really was confusing for me too, I don't want to go back to the childhood and talk about that stuff, but some of my first mentors, we were part of a big project that was pretty lucrative for us. And we're in the boardroom celebrating, and out comes, the executive NOSOR. And so I associate success, entrepreneurship with this, this fine white powder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these guys were very successful, and I looked up to them. They're mentors, and they could close that bag down and go to work Monday. And it started like that for me, but eventually, over time, I couldn't close the bag. I couldn't put the drink down. I needed another bag. It wasn't just weekends. It wasn't once a month. It was just, man, life was really starting to become unmanageable. Right at the time, my consultancy, my businesses, all my legal stuff was really taking off. I'm traveling all over the world. I'm, making excuses to stay in Chile, Peru, South Africa, like all these places. Project ran longer, babe. Gonna have to stay an extra week in Sao Paulo, and it was to feed my addiction. And things went on like that, man. I tell you, for 20 some years, 25 years, I started drinking and drugging at the fine young age of 10 years old. And it didn't get any better. I'll tell you that. It didn't get any better over the 25, 35 years that I used. My addiction lasted for 35 years.
Was that off and
That's a
on, or
very
was
long
it like
time.
straight? Was that off and on, or was that just like straight
No, it
on?
was, from the word go,
Yeah.
it was pretty much consistent. Something was going in my body for
Yeah.
35 years, almost daily, right? It started with like weed, alcohol, and I just needed to get out of my own skin. Like I didn't, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere, right? And I just needed something to quiet my head, quiet my mind.
Medicate. You needed to medicate.
Medicate. That's it.
Yeah.
Just numb. And I walked around numb to the world for 35 years. And and I had some success because you could look at the bank, you could look at the material world and what I had, but inside, man, I was coming undone, right? And nobody knew, man. I would go home and I would literally sit in a fetal position, man, for the whole weekend, and it just got worse and worse. And so I didn't like feeling like that. I felt like I was missing something. So I put something in this big black hole that was inside of me, and it would make that hole shrink and I would feel better, right? But what do you do when your solution stops working for you? It didn't matter near the end. At the age of 45, I couldn't put enough drugs in my body. I couldn't put enough alcohol in my system to make that black hole shrink and go away, right? I couldn't make the voices quiet in my head. If anything, it amplified everything at the end. It didn't take it away anymore. It made it worse. And I just came completely unwound, right? On my way into treatment, man, I think I was up for, man, it was a couple of weeks. Hadn't showered, hadn't eaten, hadn't slept. I'm full flight from reality. And I at the age of 45, I end up in what I call my bougie spa, right? I was still able to get myself into a private center. Many people aren't that fortunate. Many people die. There's so many addicts like myself out there dying on the streets, man, waiting on some fucking list for the help they need, right?
We've
And
talked
just
about
being shoved
that.
aside, man.
Yeah.
We've just being shoved aside.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the podcast and how fucked the healthcare system is. And it's like, if you don't have $30,000+, you're gonna wait 6 to 8 months, and most of the time, by the time we become willing to take the help, like, we don't have 6 to 8 months to fucking live. We're doomed by the time we get there, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really fucked up.
Listen, there's so, the short time I've been in recovery, just under 5 years. I think I'm 67 people that I've crossed paths with in under 5 years that are no longer breathing on this planet.
Yeah,
They're fucking dead.
it's a staggering number.
That's what happens to addicts. We die, man. It's a cold hard fact.
What
It's
happened
true,
to my fiance 2 years ago?
right?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
man, you'd be hard pressed. I'm probably a little older than you guys, but you'd be hard pressed to run into somebody on the street in our age brackets that doesn't know somebody that's lost this battle to this insidious disease, right? It would be a miracle if you didn't know somebody that has lost the battle to addiction or
And that's
alcoholism.
fucking sad to say.
Yeah.
And that's the cold hard truth of that's raw, man.
Yeah.
Right? That's raw. That's facts. And so, what normally happens is either not aware of the services out there, or I'm too scared, or whatever the reason is. It doesn't matter what the reasons are, man. I can give you a million different reasons why I wanted to stay and do what I was doing, right? And not seek help. I'm running around like a wannabe gangster doing illegal stuff, all while I have this whole legitimate side of my life and my businesses, and that was the hamster wheel, never letting these two lives cross paths, right? Until they did, and it just got, man, it came unwound after 35 years of drinking and drugging. Within months, I was in a treatment center. Like it came unwound fast, man. Like I was about 110 pounds lighter than I am today when I went into treatment. My skin was great. Like I had one, I was knocking on death's door. It wasn't a joke, man. It was serious, and I really had to look at myself and say, "What are you doing here?"
Was that the wake up moment that you had, like that light bulb that's like, fuck, I need to change or I'm gonna die?
It wasn't quite the light bulb moment for me.
Okay.
This counselor I had in this treatment center, like, listen, most people are there for 28, 30 days, 45 days if you're lucky. Bro, when I tell you I'm the sickest guy you'll ever met, I was there for 5 months, right? During a global pandemic, man. And I spent 45 days being stubborn and trying to be the smartest guy in the room, right? I know everything. You can't tell me anything. I just need, I'm wicked smart. Just give me the algorithm or the formula, and I'll just solve this problem myself, right? That's all I need. 45 days into it, this primary counselor of mine just goes like, listen, Mark, stop saying you're broken and you need to be fixed. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. But what you are is very, very sick. We need to find what medicine is going to work for you. And that was the moment for me. Like, wait, hold on. You don't need to fix this. I'm not broken. I'm just really sick. This is actually a disease. And okay, so give me the medicine. Oh, there's all kinds of medicines, really. For myself, I found a solution to this living problem. That's really what my issue was, right? My issue, isn't drugs and alcohol. Like, I'm an alcoholic and an addict, and my problem is not drugs and alcohol. That was my solution for 35 years. My problem was that I had a severe allergic reaction to living sober on this planet. That's my problem. And so now we need to figure out why. Why is that my problem, right? And we need to find what medicine is going to help me live sober on this planet. Because my medicine, my solution, drugs and alcohol, stopped working for me, right? And it became very dangerous to continue to try and use that solution, especially when it didn't matter how many drugs and how much alcohol you're putting in. It just, nothing's making it go away and nothing's making me feel better anymore. At the end of the day, I figured it out. I'm a hurt little boy with scared feelings. I'm running around trying to play gangster, right? Trying to act like this tough guy. No mistake, I'm tough enough, but that's really not what you saw, right? What you saw was this manageability and this wannabe gangster and tough guy, but really what it is I'm a scared little boy with hurt feelings inside. That's all it is. I'm living in this fear.
Yeah, you
and I
put
don't
a
like
shell
how that
on.
feels.
Yeah, you
right?
put a shell on, yeah.
Right? So who put these masks on or whatever, whatever analogy you want, or I put something in my body so I don't have to deal with that fear anymore. And that's what my life was like until this counselor tells me, like, we just got to find some medicine. I'm like, okay, I'm sick. I'll buy into that. It's been 45 days. I haven't had any movement on my, while I've been in that center. So I'm like, okay, so what's the recipe here? What's this solution look like? They're like, well, we got to figure it out, right? We got to figure out what medicine. And so for me, I was able to find it in a 12-step fellowship, right? And I'm guided by these principles, these 12 principles today that I live by. And, it seems to be working for me. But I always say, I don't know if it is, because I went to a treatment center. I removed drugs and alcohol from my body. I never put them in since the day I went in there. And I started working and living by these 12 principles. So I can't tell you it's really this that's keeping me sober, but I'm not brave enough to stop either. I'm not taking that chance, man, that if I stop doing what I'm doing, I'm going to get to stay sober. So I'm just going to keep doing whatever it is that I was, that medicine. Those 12 principles are my medicine.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to keep taking it every day, every day. And so far, after almost 5 years, after taking this medicine and living by these principles, things happened real fast in my life. I went from looking for a place to live, not my wife really didn't want me in her life. She loved me, like no mistake. We've been together now for 26 years, my wife and I. And it doesn't make sense to me as well. So nowhere to live. Kids, couldn't see the kids. It was clear I was a danger to them and everybody in my life, including myself. Wife didn't really want me around. And so you go from that, not even 5 years ago, to doing what I'm doing today. And that is giving back to everybody in everybody in my life, right? How can I be of service to you? That's basically these 12 simple principles that I live by. That's basically at the 10,000 foot level. That's what it is.
Mhm.
Be a human being, make good choices and do something for somebody else. And so far, like, look, man, like I can't tell you how much gratitude I have today for having the opportunity to be doing what I'm doing. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I knew nothing about the apparel industry. And we're still learning. We're making mistakes. That's okay, right?
That's how you
We're
learn, though.
learning. And
That's how you
some
learn, man.
mistakes and some things we have the opportunity to learn. We go, whew, that was expensive. Let's not do that again, right? And it's a real cool way to live, man. I get to parent my children today. I think being a father's probably the greatest thing that God has ever given me. Right?
Mhm.
If there's something better than being a father, I bet you he kept it for himself, and maybe he did. I don't know, but I think it's just the coolest thing that I get to be today, and I get to be a husband again. I get to be a son. I'm blessed that I still have my parents with me, man. I
Mhm.
get to be a business owner and have a beautiful partner, Dale. Right? We talk daily. Right? Dale lives in Calgary half the year, and he's in Ontario or wherever around the world he is. He's got a lot going on. And I get to be this business partner, father, husband, son. I get to be a community member. I'm involved with a lot of organizations here in Sudbury where I live, and I just try to give back as much as we can, as much as I can. And, I don't ever want it to stop. And so, like I said, I'm not that brave, man. I don't know if how I'm living is what's keeping me sober, but I'm not stopping, man. I'm just not going to take that chance, right? And that's a little bit of the journey from literally nothing, knocking on death's door, not even 5 years ago, to be put in a position to be a service to all my loved ones, to you guys, to my community, and everybody I cross paths with. And it's first of all, it's fun. We're having a
Yeah.
riot.
Mhm.
Having a lot of
Definitely.
fun. When I first got sober, I'm like, man, this life's over, man. It's going to be so boring. And I've never had this much fun in my life, to be honest. And to see the joy, the things that we get to do today, the joy that it brings other people, right?
Mhm. It's about
That's
paying
my
it forward.
paycheck. That's the
you know?
paycheck right there,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. It's all about paying it forward, and giving back. Especially
Yeah.
like when you're in these like dark times, you know how it is. It's good to help people walk through these dark times. That's the I saw a saying about it, but that's like the hope, I guess, that you bring to the table for these other people and show them that, like, look, I was there and now look where I am. It
Yeah,
gives them
right.
hope
And
and it pushes them through that.
it's scary. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
not scary, man.
Fuck yeah, it
Oh
is.
yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah, man.
life doesn't owe me anything, right?
Yeah.
Life's not gonna knock on my door and just roll the red carpet out and say, hey, Mark, here's everything you ever wanted.
Yeah.
There's no life hack for life. It's just hard work, man.
Unless you win the lotto. That's about it.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you think life would get easier after that?
Fuck
You would
no,
just
man.
have-
It gets
Bro,
even
You would have
harder,
rich
man.
people problems at that point.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I don't listen, man. I don't want Jay-Z problems.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, definitely.
and it's like I put it to you this way: until I lost, hurt, and suffered enough, I was never going to change. That is almost wired in our DNA, right?
Mhm.
Nobody. It's been my experience anyway that nobody's going to change until they hurt enough, until they lose enough, and until they suffer enough. So
Yeah.
maybe I needed to go out there and suffer for 35 years, and then
Yeah.
finally it was enough for me.
Yeah. That was your drive.
Right? I had walked past. I had many opportunities over those 3 decades. Well, really 2 decades, because the the first 15 years, man, it was all rainbows and unicorns. It was great,
Yeah.
right? And then you just can't. And then I just couldn't put it down after, right? But it wasn't always like that for me, right? It was. There were good times, there were fun times, but it just got progressively worse, and it just controlled me by the end of it, right? So many times in the last 2 decades, right, there was opportunities to say, like, man, like, really messed this up, like sitting in some orange jumper, and the judge goes guilty, and my mom gets to watch her youngest son get the bracelets put on, and he's not coming home.
Yeah.
So that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for me. Losing everything, all my businesses, every material thing, I lost it, gone. All my money was gone. That wasn't enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a really resourceful addict. Like I find ways to get high and drunk. And so why on that day did I say, that's it, that's enough?
Just something quick.
For me, guys, it didn't matter. And I got stuck. I used to be stuck on the why, right? And that kept me sick for a long time, thinking about the why am I like this? Why am I like this? I can tell you, in my experience, the why didn't help me get sober and does not help me stay sober, knowing why. I still don't know why I'm like this.
Okay.
I've just, right?
I want to ask you a question then, because we were interviewing a guy last night and I asked him this question. I don't think he fully understood it at the time. Do you find, in your experience, being in a 12-step program, learning the principles that you have learned has freed you from the want for the why in everything?
Yeah, because I didn't know much about this 12-step fellowship that I'm part of today. I didn't know much when I first got here, and I was still stuck on the why until I started really digging into the program, and I just got to accept. That's acceptance.
Yeah.
In the program I'm part of, the acceptance is I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic, and it doesn't matter why. It just doesn't matter why, right? Here's why. Very simple. My house is on fire, guys. I have to know why it's on fire. The fire marshal goes, well, yo, bro, if you go in that house, that burning house, you're probably going to die. It's completely engulfed in flames. And I'm just like, well, I got to know why it's on fire. And he's like, well, go ahead. So whether I figure it out or not, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because I'm fucking dead. I ran into a burning house to figure out why it was on fire. And maybe I figured it out. Maybe I didn't. But it just didn't matter. Because I'm dead. And at one point, I was willing to pursue that to the gates of hell. Why? Because I'm sick. I have a disease. Listen, if you had cancer, Eric or Anthony, do you ask yourself, why do I have cancer? It doesn't matter why. It won't get rid of it. If you know why you got cancer, does it make you not have the cancer?
Exactly.
No, you still have cancer.
There's a Buddha saying, and I think you know this too, Anthony, is where a snake comes up and bites this person and then starts going away. And then the person runs after the snake and says, hey, why did you bite me? Well, the snake's a snake, man. Like, instead of worrying about that, why don't you worry about yourself?
Yeah,
You just
that's
got bit by a snake. Yeah.
That's what I do, right? So once I could learn to focus my energy on the solution of how do I not be this sick, things really took off for me, right? I stopped putting all my energy and my time and my efforts on why am I like this. Instead, I choose to focus on how do I not get back to there? How do I not be like that? So that's that shift from focusing, why am I like this? Why am I like this? To the solution of not acting like that. And it's been my experience over this last 5 years that when I focus on doing and the things that I get to do to not be like that, the time is way it's better well spent, right?
Well, here's the best thing too, man, is you get to wake up every day. Some people don't.
Bro,
You know what I mean?
right? Listen,
Yeah.
I love that you say that because I wake up with a new wife every day. Because this morning I've never woken up today beside my wife. I woke up beside her yesterday, but I didn't wake up today beside her yet, right? Or I did this morning.
Yeah,
and
I know
so
what you mean.
it's like I don't know what's gonna happen. So to me, it's like in this moment, at this time, my wife and I get to discover this relationship we have.
Yeah.
I can't be so close-minded to think I know what it's going to be like today. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, right? So I get this excitement and this feeling of joy and gratitude that I woke up, first of all, right? I woke up because that was a chore. And I woke up beside this beautiful woman, right? Now, I can't wait to see what's going to happen today, to where our relationship is going to go today. It's like, when I shift my mentality and my thinking that way, it's how can you not be excited to wake up every day beside the same individual? Because I've never woken up beside them today. That's why, right? And same with today in whatever the tasks I get to do today at the office, right? It's not the same as yesterday because it's a different time. And so I can't say to myself, I know what today is going to be like. Like, I don't have a crystal ball, man. I can't tell the future. So the important thing is for me is just to show up. And whatever happens is going to happen. But the important thing is to show up for life and to show up for my wife, to show up for my kids, show up for you guys, show up for myself, right? And whatever happens, that's out of my control, right?
It's
Whatever
happening no
happens is
matter
gonna
what,
happen.
man.
Yeah, man.
Right? I'm not in the outcome business. I'm in the show up, do the work, and whatever happens, just happens, man. And trust me, I work on this daily. I don't wake up fully spiritual every day because I'm fucking human, right? And I can I can show you how human I could be real fast, right? Because for me, I heard this on this podcast I watch, this doctor, and he says there's two types of people in this world. There's people that have problems and dead people. So if you're alive, you probably have problems.
Yeah.
Right? You'd hardly be human if you didn't, right?
Yeah.
And so now what? We just get to show up, man. That's it. Yeah. Right? And if somebody acts out towards me, it took a while to get to this point, but I don't take it personal. I don't know what happened in their life the instant before we cross paths. Something might have happened that they're scared of, that they're afraid of, and I just happen to cross their paths and I'm the guy getting it. So I could learn not to take things personal and not to react or act out when I feel like I'm being attacked. Because it's not about me. Something's going on inside of that individual, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me, right? I just happen to be the guy standing
wrong place,
in front
wrong time kind of thing,
right? And listen, man, like I said, I don't wake up that spiritual every day, all day long. There's a lot of work, right? To discover, what I'm supposed to be doing and how I'm supposed to be living. And so far, man, I just keep showing up. I'm open-minded enough today to say maybe my perspective isn't the only one, right? Maybe we're both looking at the same thing, but you guys are going to perceive it and view it differently than me. Now, can we agree that we each have our own perspective? Of course. And really, that's why, eyewitness statements are the most unreliable.
Yeah.
Because it's whatever they are, that's how they perceive that event, right? Yeah. Now, you and me might perceive it different. The exact same event, we just might perceive it a little different. And so it's not about right or wrong for me at this point. That's your perception. And this is my perception, right? And you can't tell me this isn't how it makes me feel because it's just how I feel. And it's not right or wrong. Right? It's just...
I've said this on an episode before. I think it was that guy Mitch we had on about the psilocybin, about perspective. If I took you and Eric and I taped an X on the ground, and I said, okay, Eric, stand there, go look up at the clouds, tell me what you see. And then you went and stood in the same spot. Even though you were both looking at the same thing, you're seeing it from a different perspective. Maybe he's a little bit shorter
Absolutely.
than you. You were there at a
Everything-
different time. Like, it's perspective, it's your own,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that your perspective is any more right than anybody else's.
No, it's just mine.
Yes, that's right.
It's just mine.
That's right. Yep.
Right? And yours is yours. And it can never be wrong. That's the thing about a perspective and being open-minded enough to allow the individual the space to express their perception.
Yep.
Because it can never be wrong.
Yep.
It's just yours.
That's right.
Right? And mine's mine.
Yep.
Right? It's not about being right or wrong. And that's where I get to just take my ego and park it. I don't need to be right or wrong. But I have witnessed, or I take in information, I perceive it the way I'm going to, and you're going to take in the same information, and you might have a different perspective. And that's okay, right? It's not right or wrong. It's just yours, and it's mine, right?
Hell yeah.
And so I did a lot of work on this in early recovery, man, because my ego and my pride sit on my shoulders. They still sit there, right? And they scream in my ears all day long, right? And I get to do and live by these principles to say, you know what, Mark, you don't need to be right.
How do you shut them out? How do you not listen to them? Can you give any tips or anything for people?
You know, it's living by these 12 principles in my life.
Mhm.
They are the core. They are the foundation of every decision and everything I do. And so when I'm living by these principles, these things like ego, pride that sit here on these shoulders, right? They get quieter. They never go away, right? I'm human, right? And
Yeah.
they could come back real fast. And I just get to go back and say, okay, man, like, phew, you know, even that was big for me, just to go, okay, time out, Mark. Like, whew. Before, I would just run right to the edge of the cliff, dive, swan dive, head first off, and I'd be gone on a run, man, right? Because I'd be so offended or felt personally attacked, right? And now I can just go, I can get right out to that edge real fast still. But because I have such this strong foundation in these principles, I can pause, take a breath, and I can recenter myself. I can get right back to the center and just go, okay, maybe. And it's about perspective too. Maybe what I just witnessed was one, I perceived it a specific way or a certain way, and maybe it's not exactly what's happening, right? Because I have all these influences
Mm-hmm.
that could change my perspective. And I just go like, well, you know, and put it this way, in the past, I used to be like, why does that guy get a pass? He doesn't get a pass on this. We're going to go teach him a lesson, right? And it's just like, that's okay, man. Maybe this guy's sick, or maybe this individual is sick, right? And this is how their sickness is manifesting itself inside of them. I'm sick, and where would I be if somebody singled me out and acted out towards me? You know, when I first wanted to get sober, right? So I can have some empathy and some compassion today for any sick individual, no matter if I agree or disagree, whether it's moral or immoral, it doesn't matter. What makes this guy's sickness any better than mine? Any better or worse than mine? It's not. And mine wasn't.
And also, like, what gives me the right to be the judge, jury, and executioner of this
Exactly.
person, right?
Yeah.
In my life today, there's only one guy that sits that high
Yeah.
to look down in judgment, right? And it's not me.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it's not me,
That's right.
right? And, you know, even, you know, to talk like this, like I don't even consider myself a religious individual, but I have found spirituality in my life, right?
Mhm.
And it helps to guide me with these strong set of morals or principles and the spirituality in my life. You know, the way I look at it is, what's it to you how I get to be sober today? Really, I didn't know I was that important. And trust me, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So whatever I'm doing to stay sober today and have this beautiful life and my family and I meet these great individuals like yourselves, whatever I'm doing, can I not just have this? Is it really important how I'm doing it? Right? The how and the why of it, right? Why doesn't matter. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Why does the how matter too? For me, it doesn't. It's
Mhm.
working for me, right? And so if somebody else is able to accomplish something or stay in recovery or have some continued sobriety in their life, what's it matter to me how they do it? There's
Yeah,
many
man.
ways to stay sober and get recovered, right? 12 step doesn't have the monopoly on it. It works for me, right? That's my how. So what, like, to me, like, it's none of my business how somebody else stays sober, right? Can I not just be happy that they're sober? For sure I can,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to align with what I believe in.
Yeah.
And I can still, be glad and be happy and love that you're sober, right?
Well, the thing is too, the
True, man.
thing I love about this show is like it doesn't even have to be in sobriety. It's how people find their own inner peace. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
everybody knows I'm like you, everybody knows I'm in recovery, right? That's what works for me. But we've had guys on who've gone on their own journeys and found inner peace
Yeah.
in psilocybin journeys with their
Mhm.
doctors. You know what I mean? We've had guests who've had extremely near death experiences like Peter who got shot 26 times. And that was
Yeah,
his
I
life.
watched that episode.
Yeah, that was
Whoa.
his life-changing experience.
That rocked me to my core.
Crazy, man. We have beautiful human beings on from all walks of life and how they found their inner peace. But Mark, I'm just like you, man. Like the way I put it is if to keep what I have, if I have to do a few simple things every day that to me aren't that big of an ask. If I got to go to a couple meetings, I got to pick up the phone for people when they call and then read a book with some people. If that's all I have to do to keep what I have today, that's a far better price to pay daily than running the risk of going back out. Cause I'm like you, man. Like maybe I did just need a couple years away from everything. Maybe I could
Mhm.
operate like a normal person. But to me, the risk isn't worth the reward because the expense that I'm paying now isn't that fucking expensive in my opinion. You know what I mean?
And it's not a chore for me, man.
Yeah, that's
I don't
what I
have
mean.
to do any of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one's making me. I don't have to. For me, it's gratitude and humility. Like, I get to do this, right?
Anthony, we were talking last night, and it's like, we were saying about, like you have to go through this in order to pretty much blossom to be this person that you're really actually meant to be.
Yes.
So you need to go through these hard times to learn the lessons. And I think we're saying that's what, like a true prayer, I guess you could say. And I'm not even saying that religious, you can just pray that you know what I mean? You don't have to be religious
Yeah,
to pray.
we talk about
Spirit,
the difference
yeah,
between
exactly, right?
spirituality and religion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but what it is like you say I want to be stronger, but then you go through all these hard troubles in your life,
Yeah.
and those are the lessons to make you be stronger in the end of it.
Yeah, maybe they are, maybe they aren't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
right? I don't know.
Yeah.
there was a video.
It sounds like a great ideal, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, Eric, I personally have a different experience. I don't say that you need to go through these hard times and these trials because if somebody's listening and they haven't been through them, they might say to themselves, "Well, I'm
Fair enough.
not
Yeah.
that person, right? I'm
Yeah.
not this or I'm not that." But my journey is mine and only mine,
Well, that's
and
what
it
I'm
doesn't
saying.
look
So
like yours.
you needed to go through that to get to where you are, and
Yes,
it's not about.
yes.
That's what I'm saying. Not everybody. That is your journey. That's your
Yeah.
hard. Hard is
Yeah,
hard at the
right.
end of the day,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
My journey's mine and only mine.
Yeah.
Right.
And only you can walk that.
And so, when I speak in a lot of places, and the one thing that I really like to highlight is, everybody took a journey to get where they are today in life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Definitely.
And I guarantee you, it didn't look like mine. But that didn't matter because when we talk about perspective again, I bet you it felt the same inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important part that you, me, and other people can relate to, that it felt the same. And I know that because they were in those rooms with me, right? So nobody ended up in a 12-step fellowship or in a 12-step meeting because everything was going fucking great in their life.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't walk through the door on a winning streak. That much could probably agree with, right? And so whatever that journey was, it felt the same as mine because you're here. You're here today.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. You're here today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now what? We all have a story. We all got a story.
We say that all the
and a
time,
journey
bro.
that landed us here.
Yep, we say that all the time.
Right?
Yep.
Now what are you going to do? Are you going to let that story and that maybe that traumatic or that life event thing that happened to you, are you going to let that define you as a human being? Or are you going to fucking do something about it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now what? So what? You're here. Life kicked you in the nuts, man. For me, I became an addict, an alcoholic, and I lost everything. But guess what? It was still my choice, right?
Yeah.
I just
You
want
could
to.
lay these tools at my feet, but guess who has to pick them up every morning?
Yeah.
Anthony, you can't pick them up for me.
Well, I could, but
Eric,
What
you
is-
yeah,
can't do it for me.
I could, but
Well,
I
what is
can't.
it?
I can only show you how to use them. I can't do it for you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't
You
do
can
it
take
for me.
you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it.
Yeah.
Put salt in the water.
Yeah.
I just want to go back a bit to what Eric was saying about having to go through the hard times. There's a video I saw, and this guy uses the analogy, and he's like, if you were God and you were creating a human being, and you wanted this human being to appreciate, like have gratitude for things, you probably wouldn't give them everything that they wanted right away. If you wanted this person to be patient, you probably wouldn't give them things immediately. You would make them wait. So it's like learning how to understand, like, what's the best way I can word this? Like, the things that are happening to you are happening for you. You know, it's just about how you utilize those things, right? Like you, Mark, you and I have extremely similar paths. They were both our own journeys. But man, even tonight, like you've said a lot of things that I can super relate to, man. Like the thing you said about like when you don't have drugs or alcohol in your system and you're just like essentially you, like you are a sad little boy with scared feelings. Dude, I say all the time.
Little boy was scared. A scared little boy with hurt feelings. You know where that's from? So my buddy Mickey O'Brien, it's a lyric from one of his songs, right? I'm just a scared little boy with hurt feelings.
You know what I always say? And this is, again, this is on my own journey. I didn't hear it from you. When Anthony is in his own skin alone without practicing the principles, Anthony is just a sad, scared little boy who doesn't have the will to live.
Yeah.
I got complacent
You
in
know what
recovery.
that looks like? You know what that looks like growing up? Mark does not play well. Mark acts out. Mark does this. Mark does that.
If Mark applied himself,
Mark
he would
has
do good.
anger issues.
Yeah.
Mark does, right?
Yeah.
That's so I get diagnosed with all these freaking things. But you know what I am? I'm an addict and an alcoholic.
Yep. Yep.
Right? I was on I got prescribed a lot of anxiety, depression medication. Now I'm not minimizing that there is clinical depression and these types of diseases, but it turns out I didn't have any of it.
Yeah.
Because when I'm going to my doctor, he's treating the symptoms. And so I'm lying through my teeth. Fuck, I feel depressed, doctor. Yeah, I'm higher than giraffe pussy, man. Like I got an 8-ball under my nose 24/7. Of course I'm depressed.
Yeah.
I can't put down the bottle, the Jack, right? Jack's got me telling lies. Of course I'm anxious and depressed. But as soon as all that stuff goes away, maybe I don't need this medication. And so I talk to now I have an honest, an authentic conversation with my medical professional. And I say, listen, I don't think I'm depressed. I don't think I'm anxious. And he says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, let's try and wean off this stuff, right? Because I'm sober for the first time in 2.5 decades, 3 decades. So what do we got to lose, right? So I've been free from all mind-altering substances 6 months into my recovery. Stop taking SSRIs. I don't take anything anymore. I'm completely clear. Nothing alters my mind. Nothing, even prescribed or otherwise. And again, I'm not minimizing the fact that there is clinical depression, right?
I have clinical depression. I did
right? And it just, when I go in there and telling my doctor I'm depressed, there's no way was I ever sober. And there's no way I was telling him the truth, right? I'm lying through my teeth and he's treating the symptoms that I'm exhibiting.
Yeah. That was one of the first conversations I had when I got out of treatment with my sponsor was like, he's like, what are you on? And I was like, on sleeping medication and I was on antidepressants. He's like, have you ever been diagnosed while you weren't self-medicating? And I was like, well, fuck no. Like, I've been smoking weed since I was 11. He's like, why don't we just try to not be on anything and see how it goes? And he said the same thing. He's like, I'm not a fucking doctor, but like, let's give it a genuine shot and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I got back.
And I'm not listen, man, I'm not a doctor either.
Yeah.
But I was curious enough and sober. So maybe I'm thinking a little clearer. I don't know. But it doesn't hurt to ask my medical professional what he thinks.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And monitor my mental health.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what they're there for, right?
Yeah.
Like, reach out to
some of them just want to hand you the prescription and get paid. That's all they care about.
Well, listen, but that's on. But you know what, Anthony, I got to own some of that too. Like, because more often than not, It's been my experience that the medical professional said, well, what do you think? I used to think that was weird. Like, well, you're the fucking doctor.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do I think? Right?
Yeah.
But I get it now. I'm like, well, I'm thinking I'm not depressed. And he's like, well, let's monitor you as we wean you off these, right?
Yeah. So I got
So I
back
get
on
it.
got back on meds, and I've actually booked an appointment. I don't know. We didn't talk about this on air. We talked about this in one of the interviews. I'm gonna look at. I'm gonna go back to my doctors and talk about getting off my meds again, and just like see how it goes. There's different
Yeah,
ways,
like,
man. Like there's different ways to find peace. Like, and not
there
just
is,
in
right?
recovery.
And
Like,
as long as you're speaking to a medical professional and doing it in a prescribed and safe manner,
yeah.
that's the important thing, right?
I never did that shit before though. I was like, I take my meds for like 3 days. I'm like, these things aren't fucking working. Then I just stopped taking them. My doctor's
Listen,
like,
man.
you
Takes
gotta take
21 days,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
you got it takes a long
Back
time.
when I was out there doing my thing, I didn't take half the pain meds. I have a spinal fusion, man. I got titanium rods, plates, screws, a bone graft, right? I didn't take half the pain meds because it would just loop me. I couldn't drive because I refused. Not that I refused, but I couldn't stop drinking and drugging. So I just decided, well, I'm going to stop taking my pain meds because I can't do these other drugs because I'm fucking walking into walls and drooling and falling over, right? And I really need these other things is what I believe. So I'm just going to have to go ahead and stop taking my pain meds.
Dr. Mark at it again.
Yeah, right?
There's a question, Anthony. I don't know. You want to address that?
The question.
What's that?
There's a question.
It was a weekend thing that turned into a crutch.
No. It worked for you.
It worked for you. What do you mean it worked for me?
The meds, do they work for you?
Yeah, I think we talked about the meds there. Does it work for you?
I feel like they did in the beginning. Now listen, when it comes to the one thing I will say about prescription medication or any medication whatsoever, the job of the medication isn't to fix the problem directly. It's to aid you in helping you fix it yourself. So my misconstrued idea of antidepressants was I take this pill and then I'm supposed to be happy. That's not what they're there for. So my depression, I've said this before, my depression shows itself as like I can comfortably lay in bed all day. If I'm unmedicated on my antidepressants and I'm not taking them, I can sleep for fucking 14 hours, wake up for an hour, go right back to bed for 3, be up for an hour. And like to the point where like I'm not taking care of my kids the way they should be taken care of. I'm not feeding them. Like I would just comfortably stay in bed. So what my medication does is it gets me out of fucking bed. Now, to do the other things, that's still my job. But the medication definitely helps get me out of bed and keep me out of bed during the day. It's not like fucking cocaine.
Yeah, you still have to be a fucking dad.
I still have to do the job. So
right?
The problem I had was, well, like, why isn't this fixing all the fucking problems? Like, that's not what it's there for. It's not there to help fix the problem. It's supposed to aid in you helping fix the problem yourself. That was my experience, and that's my experience. So I've been on them for like a year and a half, and they're still doing their job, but I feel like I've never genuinely like cared about what I'm putting into my body in terms of food and getting proper exercise, and drinking the right amount of water. And I've really started to come into this holistic idea of like getting outside, and like drinking good water, making full meals, and not just stuffing Timmy's in my fucking face every morning before I go to work and like chugging energy drinks all day. Like I'm literally weaning myself off them right now. I'm down to 1 a day. I was 2 religiously a day, right? So I feel, and Eric, you and I were talking about this on the phone earlier. Like I've been like for the last like 2.5 weeks, and it happens so fucking quick, and it does every time. I'm either all in or all out with this type of stuff. So when I'm all in, I'm drinking water. Drinking water doesn't seem like a chore.
Sounds like addict behavior.
Yeah, 100%. Like I have a 0 sugar Pepsi, and I'll tell you right now, the only time I fucking drink these is when we're on the computer. So you'll always see me drinking one, but I swear to God, it's the only time I drink them.
The best thing Pepsi did was bring out Mountain Dew Zero.
Oh, I've never had the Mountain Dew Zero.
I'm pre-diabetic, man. I get to drink Mountain Dew again.
Yeah, my brother just got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes last week.
Yeah, bro, wait till you grow into your dad bod.
That's what I'm trying to avoid by going to the gym and taking care of like what I'm eating and stuff.
Yeah, you know what? And that's my biggest concern, and my wife's concern, and my doctor's concern today, right? Is, if my problem is putting the first one in, well, it goes for food too. I have to eat though. I have to put the first one in. And now it sets off this phenomenon of craving, and then I just rush whatever I'm eating until it's gone, right? Like I stopped being hungry after the fifth one, but the other 200 I ate them anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And listen, man, like I'm not in good shape. Like I'm really not. I'm tipping in around 300 pounds. And like I said, when I went to treatment, I was about 180, right? And that was even heavy. That was even heavy for me, but I looked really sickly at 180, right? And I'm 300 now. And it's just something else that but here's the thing. You heard me say it earlier. Until I lose, hurt, or suffer enough, I'm not gonna fucking change, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Right?
would you?
Why would I?
Yeah. Dude, I say that all the time too, man. Like, listen, if I didn't have to go to fucking meetings on Friday nights and pick up the phone for people, I wouldn't. But the payoff is so much greater in doing that simple stuff because the suffering that I experienced was bad enough that I didn't want to fucking experience it anymore.
You hurt enough. You
Mhm.
suffered enough.
Yep.
Right? And you lost enough, and you finally made the decision, right?
Yep. Dude, even in your story when you were talking about when you heard about 12-step stuff, I'll just give you a little bit of my story in treatment. I remember I was in treatment and sat down with a guy. He kind of did like the first part of the front of the book stuff. And then I remember going to the owner of the treatment center and I'm like, listen, man, like cut the bullshit. Like just give me the fucking answers. I don't want the 12 steps. I don't want praying. I don't want this. I don't want the principles. Just like give me the answer. Like give me the Coles Notes version. And all he said to me is like, listen, man, he's like, 7 years ago, I owned a crane business and I was shooting dope into my arm. And now I own a treatment center. What do you think happened? I said, I have no fucking idea. That's literally why I'm in your office asking you right now. And he's like, I just did what they told me to do. And this is where I ended up. And that was my light switch moment. It's like, okay, fuck, maybe there is something to this shit.
If you want what we have, then do what we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many slogans there are, and I used to laugh, slap me with another slogan because there's that school of thought that's all I need to do. Repeat all these slogans, and I get to stay sober off all the work you're doing. Life doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You don't get to have the things you have in life without doing the work.
That's right.
There's no life hack for life. There's just you wake up and you do the hard work, man. Life doesn't knock on your door and go, here's everything you ever wanted, Eric and Anthony, right? And no, you sit down, I got this, right? No, that's not how it works.
And Eric, you say that too. Like, even if I was handed everything that I wanted or thought that I needed right now, the fucking goalpost would change, right?
100% it would.
Okay, now I have this, well, what more can I get, right? And that's
the thing about goals. And then they're always changing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
No, but it's even greedy, right? That's when it even starts to everything just gets handed to you. Then you start getting more greedy because you just now think that it's just going to always come to you because you got it handed to you.
Right.
There's no real work in it.
Yeah, I lose that humility and that gratitude, and I start leaning on that entitlement.
100%, man.
Right?
That's why you see, like, I'm going to fucking knock them right now, man. The Kardashians, you know what I mean? Like everything's just handed to them. It's not hard work. Someone else had to fucking work so hard to.
I'm sure. Like, listen, man. I'm not saying they don't work hard. They've built their brands, and that.
No, but I mean,
and that doesn't happen without work. But how you start let's just say the starting line is different for everybody.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking them on like what they do now. But it's from like the starting is like exactly what you said.
I years ago I used to speak to college students in the mining engineer. Listen, I don't even remember the last time I spoke. I was so high. It was in front of about 1,000 students. I sat on the program advisory committee for the mining engineering program at Cambridge College, and I'm talking to them, and I'm just like, my buddy was laughing. He's like, "Whoa, standing O," and I don't remember what I said, man. But he broke it down for me, right? And I'm like, well, it's true. Like, you got no shot against me. You know why? My dad's a mining executive. And now that might not seem fair to you, but that's the cards we got dealt, right? So the door's going to open for me and not you. Yeah. But guess what? I walk through that door. Now I'm judged harder than you would be judged, right? Because now it's not just me. It's my father's reputation, right, that I'm affecting. And so I have to work twice as hard even though that door opened for me and you don't have a chance in hell walking through it, right? I'm entitled to that because of who my dad was, right?
Mhm.
So I'm getting the job and you're not. But it's what's going to happen after I walk through the door,
Yeah.
right? I had to work twice as hard to get the same thing as everybody else, right? Now, I'm not saying poor me, but I'm just saying that's just the way life is sometimes.
Yeah.
My starting line was different than yours. And when I'm
Yeah.
talking to these mining engineering students, I'm telling them, like, even while you're still in school, get on LinkedIn, go build your network, because
Yeah,
not
man.
everybody's got a father,
Yeah.
right? Not
Yeah.
everyone's blessed with an executive as a father.
Yeah. You gotta
And
work
sorry,
hard for
not
that
sorry,
shit.
but that's just the way life goes, and it's not
Yeah.
fair. Life is not fair, man.
Well, like, and I've said this before on other episodes, how I teach my daughter. You know, she used to race my dog down the hallway all the time, and it was one time it was me and her, and she's like, "Dad, I want to race you," and I'm like, "I'm gonna kick your fucking ass." She's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna smoke you, man." She's like, "Nope." So me and her raced. I fucking just destroyed her. I never ran that fast in a long time. You know, it was like that, like since like the cops were chasing me. Like I fucking was booting it. You know. I get to the door, I turn around, and she's on the ground. She's crying. I'm like, "Why are you crying?" She's like, "You didn't let me win." Why would I let you win? There's nowhere in life that anybody is just gonna let you win. I'm like, if you want to beat
Hard
me,
work.
yeah, you got to put in the work. You got to fucking practice, and maybe one day you beat me, but probably not because I'm your dad. But I'm
Yeah.
saying you got to put in that hard work, and that's the only thing that's gonna to make you go forward here. No one's
That's
gonna
it.
hand you first place.
Right? Or we can all have participation medals.
Yeah, fuck that shit,
Fuck.
man. Fuck that. Either you're first or you're last. Simple
Yeah,
as that,
yeah.
man. There's no
You know
second,
what?
third.
And that's it, man. Like, not everybody could be a winner, but we can all feel like winners, right? Because listen, if I finish first, my job's not to look down on you for not, right?
No.
Yeah.
Because maybe tomorrow I'm not first,
Yeah.
right? I don't get to rest on my laurels. And how I live my life today is, how can I help you become first?
100%.
I'm not worried about coming second anymore. I'm
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
all right. I want you to win. And
Yeah.
what can I do to help you win?
Yeah. Like I
Right?
said, paying it forward, brother. Paying
That's
it
it.
forward.
And listen, if I train somebody to do my job better than me, now I get to go off and do the next thing, reach the next goal in my life,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not scared if you're coming for my job. I'm going to help you come for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that means
exactly.
I've probably, groomed you into doing it better than I could do it. So now I'm not worried when I go off, right?
Yeah.
You're going to take care of what I was doing because you're
Yeah.
better at it than I was.
Yeah. That's the problem though nowadays, man, is like a lot of these kids, dude, it's just handouts, you know?
It's
Let's face it,
it
there's a
doesn't
lot
do
of men
anybody
out there that
favors, right,
can
Aaron?
never change a tire, man. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Like, come on, boys.
And I know I've
Take
said
it.
this on the podcast before, but like one of the things that I struggle with when I owned my business, aside from being an active addiction, was finding employees. Because
Mm-hmm.
I own a construction company, and I loved hiring people who didn't have a piece of paper. I don't give a fuck if you have a piece of paper that says you know how to square up a wall. Have you ever picked up a nail gun? So I would hire these
Yeah.
guys with no experience, and they would come in and they'd be like, "Well, I want $20 an hour." Have you ever used a saw? No. Well, then what the fuck do you think you're going to get paid $20 an hour for?
Yeah.
And it was this
Yeah.
this grandiose fucking level of entitlement with these children, and it's like you have to earn what you want. Like nobody
Definitely.
dude, when in 2012 I moved out to Calgary to learn how to frame houses and get in construction. When I was out there, I had friends, older brothers who had university degrees messaging me asking me to get them a job working with me, and I didn't even have my high school. It's like, you didn't fucking help me pass high school. Like, fucking figure it out yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I came out here, worked my ass off, moved home, got heavily addicted to cocaine, fucking got sober, lost a business. Like, I did this all myself.
Yeah.
Like, nobody fucking helped me. Like, this was all on me. You weren't there when I was suffering. You don't get to stand there when I'm winning. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about the trades. I want to talk about something. This hoodie that I held up earlier.
Yeah.
This is super exciting. So this guy here, this hard rock miner, right? So this is my mining tee. So all the funds from this collaboration, they've written a book for elementary students. And so all the funds go to buy these books, and they distribute them through the elementary schools, and it helps them teach and helps them learn about the trades.
Good.
That's awesome, man.
Fucking right,
Isn't
man.
that wild?
Yeah,
man?
Good.
dude, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you
So-
know the statistics on that right now? For every 3 people that retire, there's only 1 person coming in, and it's probably
trade?
Really?
to a trade.
Into the
yeah.
trade?
Yeah.
No, I'm not familiar with any of the statistics on trades. I know that this country as a whole will be, I don't know if trouble is the right word, but we have to find tradesmen from other countries because there's just not enough of us.
Dude, the guy I
Right.
work with is from India, and he's one of the smartest people I've ever worked with. Not like he can just grasp the things a lot. Like, man, I've tried to train people to do my job for the last 5 years.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah.
It's, are you willing to learn?
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
guy, man, like he's here and he's willing to learn, and it's like,
Yeah,
fuck yeah,
and,
bro. You
you
want to
know,
learn? I'll
what-
teach you.
Well, man, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right. Like I don't like talking politics and education and that stuff. But
Yeah,
listen,
man.
I'm not scared for anybody from this country or another to come take my job because I work hard.
Yeah.
And if you're working harder, like I said, you could have my job,
Yeah.
right? And I'll go on and do something else, right? Like I don't live in fear that way.
Yeah.
Like you're not coming to take my job. You work for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're willing to do something somebody else isn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not taking something, that's earning something.
100%.
I don't know. We could unpack this whole topic, but like I
Yeah, that's for a different episode.
yeah, we're not getting into it. But the important thing is I'm involved with a nonprofit doing a collaboration. They've written a book to educate young Canadians, especially in the north here, where I live, about the trades. And to me, that's beautiful,
Yeah, man.
right? It's
Giving
beautiful to be a part of this program.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's awesome.
It's wild, man. That even we give back to the community that way, right? Because trust me, believe me when I tell you, I harmed this community for a very, very long time, and I could probably do a lifetime of service work just in the community, and maybe it'll be enough. I don't know, but I don't want to stop, man. I just do. I show up for my community. My kids have to grow up here. There's got to be something for them,
Yeah.
right? And I just get to learn how to parent them so they understand that your community helps make you who you are, and you have to give. Well, I guess you don't have to do anything, but you get to give back to it, right? And really, it's a really important part of my life today.
It's
Right?
amazing, man.
How can we continuously give back to the communities that we're a part of, right? Because I isolated and harmed it for a very long time, man.
Oh yeah, man.
Definitely. Well, I think it's time for the question.
It's time for the
Yeah.
question.
Like this is my one energy drink, and I only drank it because it's way past my bedtime. Man.
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
I'm just gonna start talking gibberish soon for sure.
Okay, well we got
Like the
one.
minions.
We got one question for you, buddy.
Your one question:
What is your message to the world in one sentence?
be a human being. That's it, man. Do something because you ought to want to do it
Yeah.
because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Beautiful.
That's what our whole company is built on, right? That's why we started this apparel company. So someone could wear and can I just say, you guys look great.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
They're
man.
all wearing MAD Apparel hats. There's a different styles.
Got
There's all
the
the
hoodies.
styles. And you guys we're all wearing MAD Apparel hoodies.
And yeah,
Hell
dude,
yeah.
So
this clothing
that's
is
the
no
idea,
fucking
right?
joke. Just so everyone knows, this clothing is dope as fuck. Like mine's wrinkly.
Hell
'cause
yeah, man.
I'm terrible at folding my laundry when it comes out of the dryer.
Check it out
But-
there.
right
Yeah.
Click the
on.
link.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, click the link.
And that's the idea, right? You brought up the Kardashians. You don't need to have a last name. You
No.
don't have to be anybody famous or special. The idea is when you put on one of our garments, you can make a difference,
Yeah, man.
right? Be a human being. Do something for somebody, right? You can do it. Get mad. Make a difference.
Hell yeah.
Definitely. And I just want to say, look out for our collab, the hoodie that we're gonna drop.
Yeah.
It's gonna be out soon. So just
That
look
big
out for that.
logo. That logo here
Yeah.
and behind Eric. It's gonna be a wild on the front of one of the MAD hoodies, man.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be sick.
It
Well,
is
you
gonna be
guys, I
sick.
want to ask you guys a question.
Sure.
We're going to drop it on our socials, but with everything that's going on in the world and being proudly Canadian and the name of our company, MAD, Make a Difference. We want to put on the front of our design on our hoodies and shirts, it just says MAD, eh?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
MAD, eh? I don't know.
Do it.
I don't know. We're playing around with some.
Do it, man.
We're playing around with some design ideas. Just mad, eh?
Do it.
So we want you to get mad, right? We
Yeah.
want you to make a difference. You don't have to be anyone special. You're all special. We're all miraculous angels here, man.
Yeah, man.
Right?
100%. Look at us. We're just normal fucking dudes doing something right, trying to give back to the community, right?
Yeah,
Anybody
man.
can do it, right?
Yeah. Guys, I want to thank you for taking the time today to have me on. It was a riot. It was a riot. Maybe once we get the hoodie collab going and I get it sent out to you guys, and when you're done with the program and you're about to give it away, maybe we'll come on and
you'll be here. You'll be here.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. We're doing this together, man.
we'll
What do you
give it-
mean?
Yeah.
get to see which one of your followers. Listen, if we were to sell the hoodie we're designing for you guys with the materials and the design concepts we're using, it's a $250 hoodie.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's what
Plus
we would
tax
sell
and
it for
shipping.
on our shop.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus tax and
Right.
shipping. Yeah. You're over 300
Plus-
Yeah,
bucks.
man.
Yeah, plus tax, plus shipping.
No
plus
tariffs.
it's a one-off
Yeah.
for now, right?
And
No
it is a
tariffs.
one-off, man.
Yeah.
Right?
And tariffs,
No
yeah,
tariffs.
25%.
No tariffs. It's all
No
Canadian.
tariffs. But yeah, look out for the giveaway that we're gonna do. We'll get a little bit more closer in details when we get up there. So when we get the hoodies, because we don't want anybody jumping the gun yet.
But in the meantime, make sure you're following them at Shop MAD Apparel on all social media except TikTok, right?
Yeah, we're not on TikTok yet. I got to talk
Soon.
to the marketing team and see how it's on our radar and everything's planned, right? Like I don't know how they're going to do it, but we're going to be moving onto that platform as well. And we'll see what that looks like in the near future.
Dude, get your son to run it, man. Like I'm
right?
telling you, like teenagers are like they're the best at that stuff. They're the best.
Yeah, I know. Way better than me.
Oh, me
I can't
too.
even get my Instagram logins on my phone, man. Like, and I'm an IT guy, right? Design underground networks in the harshest of environments, and I can't add an Instagram account to my own device.
Dude, I couldn't even send you an invite for this fucking interview. I sent it to the wrong email.
Do you know all of us are older than Google?
Oh, for sure, bro.
I told my daughter that the other day,
Bro,
and she's like, "What?"
I'm older than
No
the
way.
internet.
Yeah.
I've been to the end of the internet, man. It's not that special.
Yeah, there's not much outside of it anyways, not anymore.
Well, I'm probably decades older than both you guys.
I'm turning
rocking-
41.
Bro,
I'm turning 41 on the
in a
4th.
couple of months, I'm turning 5.
Yeah.
50 in a couple of months, man.
I remember you telling
Yeah,
me that
so
when
you'll be you're 9 days older than me.
nine.
Or,
There you go.
Yeah.
Only a decade, eh?
Yeah,
only a decade.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Anthony's coming out. If that's why he's coming out, it's my 41st birthday.
Yeah, so
he's gonna be
actually when
coming out.
Nice.
when I go out, Whitey, I'm going out for a week. My 4 years will be while I'm out there, and it's Eric's birthday while I'm out there.
Beautiful. What
So-
an opportunity to spend some time together.
Oh
eh?
yeah,
Yeah, man.
That's gonna be great,
So-
man.
Yeah,
We're
someone in your
excited.
chat's talking encyclopedias and Britannica. I got back in the day. I actually had somebody knock on my door trying to
Yeah.
sell me those. Like
What
not
do you-
my door, my parents' door.
I
But-
had them, man. I had they're all red, and then you got the blue set too, man. We had them all, man. That was
Yeah.
fucking
Dude.
hilarious.
Oh, I read them all.
I've
Yeah.
still got, man. I'm not even shitting you. I've got like in my daughter's room there is a fucking tote, and I'm telling you, there's got to be 60 plus issues of National Geographic in there, like just the
Yeah, I
random
don't know.
ones. Yeah, it's
Those
crazy.
are the good old days, man. The good old days. Well, on that note, I'll let you go to bed here, Mark. I know it's past your bedtime, so
Oh, it's 11 o'clock here, guys.
yeah, man.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
thank you, everybody. We're Raw Minds. Check us out if you want to be in the hot seat like Mark here. Hit us up at rawmindspodcast@gmail.com. Hit our website up at Raw Minds, or just hit us up on any of our social medias. Just fucking go right in and Google and type in Raw Minds. We're the first like 10 fucking things
Yeah.
that pop up, man. So just check us out there, man. We're everywhere.
And once again, Mark, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Definitely.
And like, we're both, I don't want to speak for Eric, but I know we're both super excited
Oh,
for what lies ahead, whatever that may
Yeah,
be.
there's lots going on,
Yeah.
right, guys? We
man.
we got a lot of conversations to have with stuff. So your following can be sporting the Raw Minds graphics,
Hell yeah, man.
Absolutely.
right?
Hell
And
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to putting that design catalog together for you guys,
Yeah.
man.
I was
Yeah.
literally working on some stuff beforehand. I was
Yeah.
showing Eric some design
Let me
ideas.
get this closer for you.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
show this thing off, man.
This thing is huge, bro. I made it in a 3X.
Did ya?
So you can see.
That's sick,
Hell
dude.
yeah.
I can't
Love
even
it.
see here. Get it lined up here.
Is that the same material that we're throwing on the hoodie?
No, that's
No,
just
no,
printed.
this is just like it's like a screen print, right?
Okay.
But what
So this-
actually, Mark, what I do need to do before I leave, I need to
I made
buy
it in fat man sizes so I could wear it.
I need to buy some hoodies off you for Eric and I, because I'm gonna bring one out with me when I go see him.
Yeah, man.
So
Were you guys able to see the darkness hoodie?
Yeah, man.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, we could see it in the
Man.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's
sick.
it's sick. It's really sick, man. That whole collection, our first collection, is called Out of the
I
Darkness,
like
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because the other co-founder and myself literally walked out of that darkness, right? But we put it on our back because it's just never that far away, right?
That's right.
Check it out, guys. Check it out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Links in the bottom.
Yeah, watch. The shop's got an overhaul coming. The marketing team has all new photos of all the items they're posting, and only the Out of the Darkness, so black on black on black, is up there. But as you can see, the navy, white, gray, these discs, none of this has been released yet, right? Even the hat Eric's wearing, it's not even on the shop yet.
VIP, baby.
There's just
VIP.
new drops all the time coming, man.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So check
Right.
them out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a good
man.
cause. It goes to a good cause. And if you buy any of the Raw Mind stuff, when we do post that up too, we're putting a donation as well to your guys' cause,
Yeah.
right? So we're giving back to you guys
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
So,
I can't wait, right?
yeah, man.
gonna be
So
great.
it's full circle all the way around. That's
Yeah.
full circle
Yeah.
all
Once
the way
we
around.
get fully launched, man, I can't
Hell
wait.
yeah.
I can't wait to see what programs we put together and collabs we do with you guys. I'm really, really looking forward, and I'm really excited to get things moving here.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
we are too, man. Definitely, we are too. We talk about it all the time. So I
If
can't
you
wait.
want
To
to look at some of the organizations we're aligned with, if you go to our website, our shop store, and you click on brand ambassadors, you're going to see a few there. My one buddy, Mickey O'Brien, who's a brand ambassador. And then we have, right now, there's 2 organizations and more coming. There's one, the Synapsis Network, this nonprofit out of Queen's University in Kingston. We're working and creating all their merch for them. And then Anthony, you're obviously familiar with Relating and Recovery
Yeah.
as well. So they're up there right now, and a whole bunch of their items are coming. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll launch all their stuff too.
Nice.
So
Great.
yeah,
and we
Good
have the
stuff.
society coming too, so you may have one more on your plate there.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So
Man, it's just an exciting and fun time, guys.
hell
And,
yeah, man.
Thanks again. Thanks to all your listeners, man, and your followers for hanging in with us. I know it's late on the East Coast anyway, and you guys are troopers, man. Thanks for sticking it out with us.
Heck yeah.
One love, man. We
Listening to my
appreciate it.
gibberish.
Yeah, thank you for coming out, man. It was a great time. We'll see you definitely again when everything else
Fuck,
pops
we'll be
there
in touch all the time.
Oh,
I know.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Definitely.
I'm going to sign off.
All right.
You're
How do I
good,
do
brother.
that? Leave. There's a big red button that says leave. Get out.
All
All right,
right.
man.
All right,
Thanks, everybody.
I'll see you later.
Take
Have
care.
a good
Well, what a great other episode, man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man.
So, like we said, look out for us. Look out for the drop when we do drop. You want to maybe tell them what we're going to have to do, or we'll just hold off?
We'll hold off.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
going to hold off.
Yeah.
On that note, great episode.
Great episode as always. So see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,